Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Welcome to the Launcher live stream. We're going to be playing a bit of Valorant today. In fact, not just any Valorant. This isn't normal Valorant. You might be looking at the screen right now and wondering, this doesn't look like any map I've seen before. What's going on here? We're playing the new Valorant map on the test build afforded to influencers and press and VIPs. The new map Fracture, which features some kind of interesting innovations in map design that we're going to dig into over the course of the next, however long I'm streaming for. We also have with us my good friend, my co-host, my analyst buddy, Ro. Ro, say hello.
Hey there, launch crew. Yeah, I'm Ro. Nice to meet all of you. Nice to be here. I'm really excited to dig into Fracture.
Yeah. So first things first, I guess we can jump right into it. I'm in the server. I'm in a custom game. I'm just looking at the map right now. I am in the defender spawn right now, which gives you, now that I'm looking at it, I've never had to explain what I was looking at on screen. I've got vents, lift, canteen, pump. There are 4 exits out of the defender-sided spawn. And you spawn, as you can see from the mini-map up on the screen right now, you spawn right in the middle of the map as a defender. And the A and B sites are on either side of you, and the attackers, we'll get to there right now.
Wow.
SWB audio capture,
right
not
here
registered.
Okay.
On the map. So at the very, I guess, the top of the map is the appropriate way to say it. But the big innovation of this map, these are no ordinary ascenders. You might even notice they're a bit more orange than the traditional ascender. These are zip lines. I'm not controlling this at all. You have no control on the zip line. I guess you can look.
So can you cancel? Can you
go
back the other direction? Wow.
You can go back the other direction, but it's say it.
Oh, they're one way.
Yeah, exactly. So once I'm on here, I can look around, but I can't. I'm hitting my space bar. I'm trying everything. Can't do anything on here.
Interesting.
So
can you be shot from the sides there? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Okay, so those are not accessible places.
These are not accessible parts of the map. You actually, as I understand it, you can't even really make it down there in any way. You can't make it to this area other than on the zip lines. These, I think, are zip lines in the truest sense of the word. I think a lot of people have called, like, the ropes on split zip lines, and I don't think that's entirely correct. These are zip lines for real.
Zip lines.
Yeah.
Wow.
And occasionally, this is a thing I noticed earlier, occasionally you will zoom over this, and you'll get a little animation. Right there, there it is. You get these little guys to move. I think it's either on a time sensor or it's triggered by motion. That I haven't been able to tell entirely. But yeah, in ghost mode, you can fly down here, take a look. There is not that much to see from my cursory explorations earlier on. It's pretty simple looking.
We got a claw.
Yeah, we got a big claw. But this is also one of the things that Riot said when they sent out kind of a press release blast to press and
SWB audio capture,
about
not
Fracture
registered.
is that a lot of the assets had been reused because they wanted to get Fracture out as quickly as possible. And I think that's something we should dig into a tiny bit later because, to be perfectly honest, I am pretty neutral on some of the asset use and some of the design across the rest of the map. But maybe it'll become a bit more memorable over time. This, of course, is an extremely unique element.
I think this was teased, or like some sort of, I don't know, electricity was certainly teased.
There were these short, like, teaser videos that showed a view kind of like this. And it was a lot more active and a lot more explosive in those teasers that I think were animated and not in engine. But anyways, yeah, let's hop over to the attacker side.
The zipline feels like it's going into the middle where the defenders spawn.
But it goes right under them.
It goes right underneath it, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the middle. And if you go up, you end up... Ooh, you need to go a bit further up. Nope. You end up right in the defender spawn. So the defenders are truly right in the middle of the map. Just smack dab in the center. The interesting thing is, let me see if I can end. Let's go into cheats, end game phase, end game phase.
Okay, we know the
All right.
Okay, so these are the barriers.
Yeah, let's look at these barriers. So you can't, as a defender, really go out to the attackers. But one of the things that the Valorant devs, Riot, was really interested in is the idea of neutral space. They talked about this a lot in the press releases. A lot of these sites are immediately accessible to defenders. They can set up like right off the bat. They have all
audio
this
capture,
kind of middle
not
territory
registered.
right from the beginning. And the attackers are restricted. Let me go ghost mode. The attackers are they have pretty harsh restrictions on where they can go right off the bat. They can go kind of right in their spawn, right in this immediate area, and they can, I believe, just take the zip line. So they can end up on either side of the map, kind of pinching the defenders. But they can't move very far from here. They're kind of enclosed right off the bat. Defenders can take up a lot of space here, and then the real points of contention, it looks like, are going to be like main, tunnel, tree. I'm looking at these callouts for the first time, really, but what would usually be considered main in the entrance to any of these sites. Now, I'm actually, maybe there's a more organized way to go about this, but I'm looking at the map right now, and I am candidly very confused about what is going on at the B site. So let's head in that direction.
Yeah, let's mosey on over there. What's interesting is that the sound cues for the zip line, I'm curious whether if you are in defender spawn, whether you can hear and get some sense of where they're going. Of course, that would only be post-round beginning because the barrier also, I believe, prevents sound from propagating.
The thing is, I am curious about this. One of the things I noticed recently is that you can see there are certain cipher cams that you can see no matter what side you're on. If Ascent is the best example. On Ascent right now, if you're going into A site, there's a cipher cam that goes up like above the archway wall, if you know what I'm talking about. There's a really high cipher cam. Yep. Attackers can see that as soon as the defenders put it up, even in the pre-round. And so I think there's some precedent for being able to see what defenders, attackers, and so on are doing. Yeah. So this is kind of, I'm guessing this is like the B main area, what would be called B main. I'm a bit confused about, I'm looking at the map right now. There's this whole segment that's kind of confusing to me on the map itself, on the actual
little underpass.
Yeah. There's an underpass. It gets kind of, this whole area is messy. It looks like you can enter it from, take a look. Huh. I'm a bit confused by what's going on here. So here we are in spawn. We go through pump. This leads us here. Where is this underpass? This is like a whole zone. Oh, the underpass goes, as the name would imply, completely underneath this. That's why this is so confusing. You have, the underpass is right here. And not wall bang. Oh.
Whoa.
Well done.
Whoa.
Let's see. I don't think that penetrated. Oh.
One did.
Yeah, wall bangable spot.
Oh my goodness. The tripwire setup there is...
Yeah. Oh, okay. It is wall bangable back in a couple of spots. I feel like that's bound to get patched.
Patched, right? Yeah.
Unless maybe they want this. Let's fly back up. Yeah. So there's a whole interesting. This is going to be exploited to all hell.
Yeah.
You put a cipher trip down there, and then you just blast away. Okay, all right. We're learning this map's secrets. So I want to just kind of look at this map for a second, or look at this scene. This is B site. to me, this feels kind of dull, to be perfectly honest. I guess there are some like unique assets. This looks kind of cool. This is just a wall bangable box, similar to the Radianite crates.
Okay.
And this is cool. This is a new asset we haven't really seen before. But altogether, I'm looking at this site. This is pretty nondescript to me. I feel like I would have a hard time making callouts here. I'm sure some will arise. This feels almost Icebox A site like to me, in that there's very little to call attention to. It is not like Breeze, where the sites are kind of very distinctive, very unique.
Mhm.
This feels very bare bones in a way that I don't
generic.
entirely love. Yeah. This will be an interesting hold. A lot of cozy spots here.
Yeah.
Let's get through. What's your perception of this so far?
I think overall, not so much the site, but I think one thing that's sort of surprising to me is that it feels like there's actually a lot of indoors, close quarter combat potential, right? And I think that for lurkers, this could be really interesting. I imagine, someone lurking on attack and playing around in that defender's spawn that seems to have a couple of columns, and it just feels like it'd be so easy to miss somebody as you're trying to clear angles. So I'm really intrigued by that, and it does feel like we're sort of overdue for a map that takes place inside. I guess this is like a biome technically, or a couple biomes. Is that how they presented it?
Let's zoom out and think about what exactly we would call this. I think they called it a research facility.
Okay.
Which explains the kind of the big reactor in the middle, the explosive elements. So far, we've only looked at kind of the lush, foresty side of things. There is a whole the big, I wouldn't say gimmick, but the big aesthetic defining feature of this map is that it is split between these two biomes: this arid desert biome and this lush foresty biome, which I think might make call out, might make recognition a tiny bit easier. All right, let's move in this direction toward the A site. There's some fun stuff here that I've noticed. There's this crashed truck, not accessible. Just a little vignette you can see. It's kind of cute.
Cool.
A lot of little kind of rat corners.
Yeah.
This strikes me as we've talked about this a lot recently. This strikes me as a multiple sentinel map, where I think the defenders have so many things to watch for. Because look at this map. Even if defenders get to set up really early on, they can get hit from both sides. They can have somebody who lurks through their spawn easily and in from like an angle that they had supposedly cleared by just spawning from there. Right. There are so many weird spots you can get hit from that you need kind of eyes in as many places as possible, or you need to aggress and play aggressively and kind of take space and just go on the offensive as a defender.
Yeah, I think that you've totally nailed it. I think on attack, I feel like initiators, with all these corners that I'm seeing, I just feel like there's so many rat corners. Having a Sova Aldrone, having the Trailblazer, like I think that's going to be even KO's knife to just get information on if somebody's in the vicinity.
Oh yeah.
Seems like it could be really useful. I feel like information in general is going to be massive. So the Sentinels like Cypher and KJ that give you plenty of intel. Will be invaluable from what I can tell. I'm sort of curious as as the resident controller main, like how would I go about? Oh wow, okay, so we have the old Radianite boxes.
Oh yeah.
Set. Interesting. Okay, a little bit of recycling.
These are it's kind of interesting to go back to this color scheme. This was day one Valorant, and then everyone was like, "This is dull. It's ugly looking," and they made it green. They made things brighter. seeing this come back is kind of interesting.
Yeah. I can understand why they did it. But they did take them out for a reason. So
Yeah.
it was
Oh, we got Caleb in the chat. I kind of feel like this map is going to be insanely defender-sided. Lots of room for defenders to push from both sites and completely take one of the attacker spawns, especially on ecos. I think that is true if you have an offensively minded... It's a question of who is more offensively capable. Because if you have attackers who are pushing really fast... there are so many angles to watch. There are so many areas you have to kind of cover as a defender that, like, attackers, if they push, if they're aggressive, can get some real benefits there, can make really quick moves. At the same time, defenders, people who lurk, people who play corners, I think they'll be really rewarded. But then if you can get the whole team to commit to pushing out, to taking space, you can end up with what Riot described as a God, I'm gonna mess this up. Ro, I feel like you're the Lord of the Rings head. Is Helm's Deep
Helm's
the
Deep
big...
is
Yeah, okay.
is what they described it as. Yeah, I didn't totally see the connection, to be honest, but I do recall them using that framing.
So their thinking was, if you're a defender, the Helm's Deep comparison is that, like, oh God, I haven't seen the movie since they came out. You have Gandalf essentially coming from one side, and then Aragorn and his forces coming from another, and they end up pinching the attackers.
Yes.
And that, I think, is what's envisioned here. Of, like, if the defenders start taking space, they could completely collapse on the attackers in a way that would actually kind of make sense for the attackers to do. I can see the balance here of, like, if attackers push in one place, they'll be rewarded pretty quickly, I think. But defenders, in as much as they have to cover a lot of angles, there are also a lot of places they can just push out of. And if say you're an attacker at, like, a hall, a defender could come from here, from tons of places, catch you off guard, and then end up on an insane flank. And also just, like, you think an attacker's coming from a site, from, like, attacker side spawn, and then they take the zip line, they're actually coming from a completely different direction. Like, the opportunities for mixing up, giving bad information to attackers are pretty... The opportunities there are plentiful, so to speak.
Agreed.
Yeah, Okay, I want to look at A site a bit, because I think this is one of the more complex looking sites in the game. Is this... Oh, nope.
Let's go.
I'm going to get rid of the barriers for now, so I can use my util. Let's walk through the entirety of A site kind of normally again. First things first, it actually looks like the orbs are favored to the attackers.
Yep.
Because this is a pretty clean take. You smoke. This is actually a bit too wide for smokes, but I can see a Jet doing this, getting the orb, and then just backing out.
My trademark Phoenix wall to get that orb.
Exactly.
Perfect here.
Let's keep going. Let's see. This is one of my problems with Valorant so far, is that a lot of the hallways feel very dull to me compared to something like Counter-Strike. I've been watching some Counter-Strike recently. I watched a Gambit Team Liquid game a couple days ago, whenever that was, maybe it was yesterday. And you see some of the maps and the, like, level of fidelity to real-world looking environments. And it feels so much more rewarding than just, like, I'm in a hallway and there are, like, big boxes in front of me. And just looking at this right now, I find this kind of dull looking. This just kind of like empty hallway with not very much going on. There is, actually, now that we're here, a kind of interesting detail I noticed by accident. This is a door.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we've got, I think, these are the interactive objects that Riot teased would be on this map. I haven't seen anything else that kind of felt quite like that. So
did you have to press? Was that
you
open?
just walk up,
Okay, so that
and it goes both
area.
ways.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
So this could be an interesting point of contention for the orb. Like, you have the defenders pushing out from here. We're very close to defender spawn. It's right there. You push out, you open door, and you just hold
That's
this
that
corner.
sound cue. Wow. Yeah.
They get the Q. You maybe have a teammate holding here, and you just hold that orb.
Test. Yeah.
So maybe that orb is not as safe, is not as attacker-sided as I thought originally. One thing, I'm kind of going all over the place here. One thing I've noticed, a lot of this logo on this map, which I think is probably going to factor into the lore a bit more at some point. Let me go find the other instance of it that seemed very prominent.
So that's the logo?
I think all of it is like referencing this thing. This is actually the thing I died. Let me go back to there. Where was I?
As you sort of get back to there, like size of the map, I guess I'm having a hard time getting a sense, but it feels kind of bigger than I expected. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. It is pretty big. I don't know what map to compare this to, because it's very different from every other map right now just by its structure. It is, I don't know, just completely different. It feels like, I don't know, it feels more complex than the other maps right now. The spaces are a lot more kind of angular and ratty and crooked and whatnot. But I don't know space-wise how it compares. It feels smaller than Breeze.
Some aspects remind me of Split, but like this is way more complex.
Yeah. All right, let me drop back down. There's a part of this map we haven't looked at yet. Is this part right here? There are two areas in this map I think that have something like this. There are a lot of these kind of like loops you can get caught in, I think. So this is just kind of essentially a wall. This is a gussied up wall that you can just kind of have, these loop battles around, fake someone out.
Ring around the rosy.
Exactly. I'm struggling to think of another area on an existing Valorant map that kind of looks like this, where you're just essentially playing Ring Around the Rosie in a circle. It feels kind of Quake-like. I have a very limited knowledge of Quake, but something about this feels Quake-ish to me. Yeah, there's all of this like circular stuff going on.
Yeah. I suppose the Ring Around the Rosie on is it B site or A site on Breeze? The columns, the site with the column.
Oh yeah. That's
it's a little bit
B-side,
different. Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just did a little burp. I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those things that's either toned down or changed over time. Just because, like, if you look at early video of how Icebox looked, it looked a lot. The mood lighting was on Icebox. I wish I could find some of that footage now. If you look at like test build Icebox, if you look at really early Icebox, it's especially A-Site. A-Site is a lot more muted. Oh, I was actually... It's brighter in that there's like... there's a technical term for this. There's lighting coming from below, from underneath kind of like the grates. There's this yellow light coming up. Now, I think A-Site looks a lot different. I think they toned things down, maybe in the interest of performance. I don't know exactly why. I have no insight into that. I have a feeling that maybe we're going to get something similar here eventually, but that is just a guess. I think they're putting their like best foot forward with this right now, and I am not convinced it'll be as involved in the future. We'll see.
Okay, so we've seen both sites. We've seen both spawns. I guess like the I just have an inclination to try to like immediately think of ideal compositions, team compositions.
Yeah.
And yeah, what do you think?
For me, I think Jet would be really good here. And maybe that is just kind of a limited perspective from playing her right now. I mean, also she's kind of overpowered, but just all of these boxes, all of these spots you can get up on. Like, this, I feel like if you just... There are going to be so many games early on where somebody's playing up here where I am and just, like, holding this. Because this is the only one of the only entrances to B site from attacker spawn. Of course, they could always come from there.
Oh, there's
they
so many different places they need to be concerned about. Yeah. Ooh,
yeah.
That's a tough entry point.
Defenders actually, or attackers probably... My feeling is that they don't really go in this direction.
Is this a third orb? Is this the first map with three orbs?
As soon as I saw that, I started wondering that there might be 4 orbs now that you mentioned. Wow. Let's track down the orbs. 1 orb here, definitely more than 2 orbs. 1 orb, 2 orbs. Ooh, and then we know there's a 3rd orb right there. Oh, it's probably because it's like a circular shape. There's going to be 4 orbs. Yeah, that scans for me. And then there was an orb right here,
right there,
which I took earlier. 4 orbs. I feel like we're going to be getting a lot more ults on this map, which is fun.
Again, I feel like Skye, all that information that you get with her ults, getting it so quickly. The run it back could be helpful, I guess, for getting information as well. And I feel like you need to save it because the orbs they're plentiful. Although, like, the map is big, so rotating to get all of the orbs is probably not viable.
Yeah. God, this is nuts. I'm thinking about... I said earlier, like, maybe there's not going to be a good reason for attackers to contest this zone, because the entry point into B from here is just this open space that is very hard to play, I think. You can get hit from, like, spawn over there, from spawn over there, from up there, from behind these boxes. I feel like people are going to be wallbanging boxes just off the rip. From up there. But as soon as I said that, I realized you can go here, you can walk through this underpass that I think is not that easy for defenders to hold. It's kind of a bit of a weird spot. I don't think there's an easy way to get to it from defender spawn. And here, you have a lot more options. You can... I feel like it's a bit easier to take from here. It's hard for me to tell who this map is balanced for. I could see it going both ways depending on the temperament of the team.
What's interesting is Riot did make it... I feel like in one of their teasers, they did sort of suggest that, you know, defenders are going to be on their back foot a little bit more. So
yeah,
I'm curious. We'll see how it plays out because, you know, gameplay doesn't always match the intentions of the developers, but I'm curious.
It's also important to realize that, like, the developers have been playing on this map for probably half a year now, in some form or another. There must have been versions of this map that, you know, were attacker-sided, were defender-sided at different points, and they futzed around. One of the things I realized, I wrote a story about Breeze whenever Breeze came out. And one of the things that didn't really process for me in the moment, but that I realized kind of after the fact, after writing that, was that they spent a really long time figuring out where to put the barriers at the start of the round. And when they were telling me barriers in the interview, I was like, oh, you mean cover, like cover around the map. But they actually meant, like, how far up are people starting? Yeah. And this map has, like, very intentional barrier placement that I think they must have futzed with for a really long time, because they've arrived in a place that is kind of unusual. And the fact that attackers are kind of left with very limited space off the rip makes me think that they did that to give defenders some advantage, which makes me think that it's an attacker-sided map. But back to comps, I really like I like the idea of Jet or Raze or Omen on here. I feel like you're gonna want 2 Sentinels and you're not gonna want Sage. I think the info gathering Sentinels like Cypher, like KJ are gonna be really good here. Although the other thing that I've noticed is that there are a lot of spots here where the choke points are not small enough to smoke or cover with like an alarm bot and mollies. So they're
this choke point is large enough though, right?
I think you could smoke this. I think you could smoke this.
Someone
but there
are
a lot of other spots. I think maybe this is more on like A site or on the A side where it felt like it was a bit harder to. There were a lot of kind of open zones.
Yeah, even that orb that you just passed actually didn't seem like it would be easy.
Oh yeah, around that's what I was thinking of. Around the orb on the A side in hall. Like this is a very wide hall compared to some of the spots here. I actually, now that I'm looking at this, I feel like what they do a lot, what Riot does, is they will make like minor alterations to maps based on whether people are getting stuck in choke points. I feel like there's this little carve out over here in B main that was probably added because this used to be just a flushed wall and people were getting stuck and could not get through it, could not figure out what to do. But yeah, a lot of kind of, it's playing smokes here I think is going to be really hard because there's a lot of ground to cover. You're right about Sky. My instinct is that Sova might actually be pretty good here too. Just let me see if I can actually switch to Sova. How do I die?
30 seconds left.
My ult is ready. They demand a fight. Who are we to disobey?
Okay, and gameplays. I think his drone is going to be really good in spots, like scoping out sites. Let's...
Deploying drone.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of info gathering is, although I can't take the drone very much higher than it is right now.
Oh, that's
which is weird. I would have assumed that I could like take it all the way up there basically and just kind of hover over the map, but that does not seem to be the case. Yeah, it's being dragged down a tiny bit. Let me try that again.
That is
right off the rip. I'm going up, but now as I get into sight, I'm being pulled down. So you can't really go as high as I thought you might be able to, but the arrow is also going to be good. This recharging bit of utility that you can use to scope out corners. So my feeling is Sova, Sky, KJ, Cypher. I actually think Breach is kind of good just for his ult alone, and his util for like clearing corners. If you aftershock, a lot of these boxes are like begging to be aftershocked, I think.
Right.
Where, yeah, if you are in a corner right here, Breach aftershocks you through this wall, you have to either retreat to up here or kind of expose yourself and go in this direction and open yourself up to this entry point. Breach works in the exact opposite direction where you set up a breach here, you have something that slows down this choke point or makes it hard to get out of, like you KJ Molly or you do an Astra Suck or something like that. And then you have Breach just blast this with the Aftershock, and the people are stuck there. They have to expose themselves. A lot of corners that you can get people out of with that utility.
Yeah, this cubby feels obvious, and I think you have to respect it. But I'm curious, like, if you don't have the utility and you're coming as an attacker, like that actually doesn't seem necessarily straightforward to clear. I don't know, like maybe if you wouldn't mind approaching like an attacker might.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think about how you clear that. Yeah,
this
'cause it's somewhat
whole
elevated. Like I think it gets a little bit. It's not.
you might do something like that.
Yeah, I think utility is definitely the way. But if you're trying to like use your gun to clear it,
You would probably, yeah, you would probably want to arrow first to like make sure nobody's peeking you there, or try and stop that, and then just you do a bit of that, some of that stuff. You might drone out from here. I don't know that this is perfectly safe, to be honest. I can't see anything here, but I wonder. I could probably be wall banged if someone is. Well, let's see, actually. No, my bullets are not actually reaching this box. So this might be a safe enough cubby from over here.
But as you come up these stairs, just left right here. It's the stairs that like concern me a little bit. I don't know.
You have to.
It's not bad, but
no, I agree with you.
It's like a little bit tricky actually.
You have to turn your whole back on the site. When
Right.
when you're clearing this, you are open from here, from like right there. There are going to be so many rats playing in that corner.
Yep.
You are exposed, actually not too badly from like right there if you push out enough. You end up behind like the Radianite box. Let's see, like this is a full clear basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be hard to see me from over there.
That's true. The Radianite box actually benefits the attackers.
Yeah, the box kind of helps. But then also you might literally just have a defender sitting here. You make that turn, blam blam blam, you're done.
I really think because clearing either requires like utility dump or requires like coordination. I've seen comments online saying that this is definitely a teamwork oriented map, and I'm totally agreeing.
Does that make you nervous about all of
about the absolute
who have never heard the word teamwork in their life who play this game?
It does, but those same people will be dodging it, so it sort of cancels out, right?
The thing is, at least for 2 weeks, there's going to be a whole playlist dedicated to Fracture. I think they had a similar thing for Breeze,
right?
Where at the start of after the map was released for 2 weeks, they just had a playlist where you could play the one map alone. And yeah, like if you opt into that and then you start dodging, you are a stupid guy who sucks. It's after those 2 weeks that I think we'll get a lot of people dodging, which sucks.
Yeah.
I like this vantage point. Yeah, this is such a it's so hard to attack from here, I think.
I
don't
agree. I would play right where you're standing most rounds, because you also, unless they're pressuring from both sides, you have plenty of cover, so you don't take too many risks from that angle.
Yeah.
But you also can retreat easily with that zip and just jump and then retake if you need to.
The trick is, in my view, like attacking from this side feels a lot easier. I don't think defenders take up space in tunnel. That might be a lurk spot eventually down the line, but I don't think defenders like end up in tunnel easily off the rip. You're attacking. This take to me feels a lot easier than the take from the other side. It feels like it's easier to kind of isolate 1v1s here. You get someone if they're right behind this box. You get people here if they're waiting. You get somebody there. You can also just take up this space. If you're attacking, if you take the zip line and decide to attack B from here, you clear that. This actually feels like a much easier way to attack this site from, I guess, attacker side bridge. I'm like trying to think of a way a defender would hold this. I guess if you want to take a really advanced position, you might hold like right here.
I worry that you can't get there in time. I mean, I don't know.
You could probably hold from up here. Just wait for people and just pixel peek as they push in from there. How wall bangable is this? Not very. This feels like a much less daunting part of the map. You come from here, maybe you actually send a lurker in through here, and while all of the defenders are distracted with you coming up from here, from where I am right now, you sneak in from there. I don't know. This feels... I think this will be the vector of attack on B site for the most part. As for A site, let's take a look. I feel like we spent a lot of time in B site, looking at B site. Yeah, there are a lot of ratty corners to try and get in, but...
Is this another example where you might not be able to fully smoke this choke point, right?
Yeah.
Maybe? I guess, no, sorry, it narrows a little bit.
You can smoke here,
right?
But if you... Oh, I guess you can't... You really make yourself kind of vulnerable, now that I'm thinking about it. If you're pushing from up here. So this might be the challenging choke point for the attackers on this side. I guess you kind of have like, if I'm guessing at the design, they have set it up so that, and this is a guess just based off looking at things, B site is easier to take from bridge, and A site is easier to take from attack, or from spawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this, trying to take A site from here, like A site is this. You have to get through so many angles. There's spawn, there's whatever that is. There's people holding in sight like there. Versus coming from here, where shit is a lot easier to clear, you can also get into this space. Yeah, this feels like the easier entry point because you can clear a lot of this stuff. You don't put yourself at the disadvantage of coming out of drop. It's like if you had to take Haven A site through Heaven as an attacker.
Yeah. Hey, Mikhail, can I ask one? I'm curious about that door. I know I've asked about it a couple times, but
yeah.
Utility-wise, I'm curious if your shock dart or recon dart will open the door. Or will it...
Yep.
It does. Okay, so that's big.
Take flight.
Presumably you can owl through.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just a sensor for humans; it is for utility.
It's got to also be like Yoru footsteps, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It happens at the last second every time, which makes me really nervous.
It does, yeah. Wow.
It really opens at the last minute.
That's interesting. I feel like, setting up a cipher cam as soon as you see people using utility to just a little bit chip damage, make your targets a little bit easier to take down a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how close you can get without tripping it. Okay, so you can get really close, and basically, I can see like a Raze ult play, honestly. You're on defense, you hear a lot of people, you have like a teammate holding here to distract, and then you pop the ult and just blammo, get everyone.
Yeah. I think I'll like the skirmishes that take place on this Aorb. I think I look forward to that.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to play this. I might, after this stream, I might stream on my own channel. The difficulty with like trying to stream from the launcher YouTube account, an actual game, is that it takes forever to like get all of the zoomers into one 10 stack. Someone's always leaving, someone needs to order food, someone's dog is doing something. You just like never get people in at the same time. This is cool. I'm very nervous about this map, but also as like a lurking player, I like how this looks a lot.
Yeah, I can see myself getting frustrated and overwhelmed with the sheer number of attacking options that are available, but like I think you've sort of pointed out that like there are some areas where defenders are relatively safe, and I think that that's what I'll try to gravitate towards as I play this map.
Scanning ahead.
The nice thing that I'm thinking about right now, because this is so closed off, I feel like there are a lot of spots that lineups will not work from. Like, if you plant, let's say you're a Viper, you plant here, yada yada. This is, I'm guessing this is probably default.
You think
this
so?
is going to be the default.
I feel like behind that, I feel like this might be.
Like here? This is wall bangable. It might become default, but this is so risky in a way that I think this... You can wallbang through these boxes. I don't know if the damage drop-off is actually stronger. This feels much more fragile. This feels much more like I'm about to get killed through this. So, no, I feel like this might end up as it, and then you would just need to, as an attacker, you might need to smoke off that area so you don't get pushed from there. Everything else is mostly covered from here. And there. I don't know if you can actually plant down here. I can't really tell, to be honest.
I imagine yes. In fact, I imagine that this border, like on the ground.
Oh,
is
yeah.
area.
Let's see.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
So actually, I wonder if there's a default right here. Might be default.
This might
actually,
be default. Yeah.
There's no immediate threat, and wallbang threat is also unlikely.
So this, I think, gets to 99% of the time when you're playing any other map, people are planting default. Here, you get a lot of like trade-off plant spots where if you can plant and get yourself in a good position, like this is a good plant spot. If you can plant here and then reposition to like behind this box or something and just hold and you watch for anyone coming out of defender spawn, and then if someone tries to defuse, blam, blam, blam. But those are also riskier plant spots because as you're planting, someone can easily just ruin your day.
Yeah.
Is this not wallbangable? Oh, it's wallbangable to a point, it looks like.
Why?
Wait, what? What is going on here? There's just like... I'm baffled by this. I don't fully understand it. Do you see how there are some spots where the wallbang is not going through?
Yeah.
And then right next to it, there are spots where it does go through.
There's no reason for that, right? If we go up top, there's not like...
No, it's exactly it. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on here.
Oh.
Weird. No idea what the deal is there. Huh. Oh, I wonder... I guess I haven't looked at the plant spots on B exactly. Let's go take a look. Oh, you know what? Oops. I actually think this might be default.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of... I guess it could also be this. It could be
That's
here.
Too exposed. I think that's too exposed.
Yeah, it's one of those exposed spots that's wall bangable. I feel like this map is going to give us a bunch of plant spots that are like... You're going to get a range of defaults based on what you want to do for post-plant. You're going to have to be intentional about post-plant, I think, in ways that people have sort of like rejiggered the default to be like, oh, okay, you plant on truck, on bind, and I know the lineups for that. I figured out a way to do a lineup. Here, it feels very much like, okay, you plant in some spot so that we can re-peek from this other angle.
Right.
And there are going to be multiple spots. Exactly. And there's not going to necessarily be one default. This feels pretty safe other than here. And that's wall bangable too. Oh, interesting. Okay. So yeah.
So if you are Killjoy, as you were wont to do, want to select, and we're trying to retake with
Revealing
your
area.
ult,
Uh-huh.
where do you place it?
That's a good question. The thing is that I don't know if I ever got to the point earlier, but because so much of this is indoors, you can put your ult into a lot of places where a lineup will not get it, or a lineup will not easily get it. You might get like nutty average Jonas style lineups that'll like land the shock dart in here.
Right.
That strikes me as very difficult to do. This is not a bad. This might become a good ult spot, honestly.
Right here. Yeah, that
It's
gets
not
the entire, pretty much the entire site. No
you
save.
can't get you can't hit it from there. You can't hit it from there without pushing in, and it gets most of sight. I don't know where you would retake after that, which direction you would go, but that certainly does close off the options of the other team. Actually, you could do that as both a defender and an attacker, I guess. God, I don't really know about good KJ setups, KJ ult setups on like defense, other than that exact same thing. This is pretty safe if you want to deter an attack, because this goes into spawn. This goes into defender spawn.
Got it. Okay.
So this is
Now, of course,
relatively
attackers can get into spawn, right?
yes, but it would require. I guess the easiest place to get into spawn would be really through B site, which is tough, or through door. So, like a good flank watch, a good sentinel hold would probably be by door, by rope, because everything else, like any attacker trying to get into spawn from anywhere else, would have to go through a site, basically, or be in very close line of sight to the site. I don't know. This feels on B. This is a good defending KJ ult, I think. This is the spot. This is open, though. This part, you could easily molly. You could easily destroy. Depending on where they're coming from on B, this is another spot. If they're coming from attacker spawn, this is a really good ult.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not, then it's not a very good ult at all. Let's see A.
Yeah, something about this map. I'm a little nervous to play Astra, to be honest. I don't know. I think that like are some logical choke points where you can use your utility to drop people out with a gravity well or concuss them, but
we're not on an official Valorant stream. You could say a suck. That's fine. You don't have to self-censor.
Okay, all right.
This is probably a fine spot for a KJ ult right here. This is not wall bangable. You would have to watch out for that spot, and again, it's open in the air. But this is basically defender sided. That's I'm kind of curious because this KJ ult spot is good, and it slows down the part of the A take that we kind of agreed would be a bit easier. I did not see an obvious. Oh, I guess you could put it in what's called tower. You could ult from tower to slow down this take, but that doesn't seem that perfect to me, honestly. I think that covers a bit less ground than I'd like. In terms of Astra, I guess I wonder how you play Astra now. For me, when I play KJ, I set down utility a lot of times because I know people will run into it, but also because you put down the utility, so if somebody goes there, it's there, but it is not like guaranteed to be useful. And I wonder if that's essentially how Astra will have to be played, where you just place stuff down and it's kind of a gamble. Like,
I think that's I like to place down maybe 2-3 my stars at the beginning of the round, but play the last two. Have them available if I need to use them, sort of more dynamically. So
yeah,
I think in this case though, like I worried about being caught out in Astra form when the attackers can be coming through your spawn for all you know.
Yeah, there was a when Riot updated Cypher, so that when he died, his utility went down. One of the things they wrote about was like, we want players to protect certain agents on their team. Like if you are like, you don't want your Cypher to die on attack because then your flanks will be uncovered. So you want to put some kind of an emphasis on protecting Cypher in as much as that's possible. I wonder if the same thing will happen with Astra here, of like, the Astra will always kind of be around another player if someone's playing Astra, because to lose Astra would be really bad, and because the risk of that happening is a lot higher, just given how many angles this map has.
Right. Like I do think that I don't know, I'm in general I have a bias towards the global smokes. It's why I've gravitated towards Omen at launch and now Astra. I feel like on this map that's also useful. And she has potentially the most smoke, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, Omen maybe can cycle through and get 6, but yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking into the nooks and crannies of the map.
It's funny because like, there's all this interesting detail outside of the playable area.
Yeah. This would be such a cool site, honestly. Like, it is a bummer that I mean, I don't know how it would play gameplay wise, but the aesthetics of this space are a lot more interesting to me than the aesthetics of like hallway number 3 on this map.
Right, it seems looks like where the kingdom ministry employees.
It's a teleporter terminal.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, can I do this?
Deploying drone.
Oh, nice. Ooh. Yeah, I guess they reused this asset from Breeze. This asset's up on the top of B site, or A site rather.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Let me find some. What other kind of nooks and crannies have they got in here? I feel like I haven't looked very hard, but I haven't seen that much stuff, to be honest. Oh.
So I saw one take that felt that Yoru might be viable here, and you know, without knowing what other adjustments are in the patch, those patch notes have not been made public.
Listen. I think Yoru is viable on a lot of maps. I don't know about viable in a competitive setting, but I think Yoru, the way people use Yoru is not entirely right. He needs to kind of be played as a Cypher with duelist utility, with a duelist kit. I find that the footsteps are not that useful. I think they are reassuring sometimes to Yoru players of like, oh, maybe if there was somebody near me, they are now tricked into thinking I am someplace else. I don't know. I like the Yoru kit. I've been playing him in unrated a bit recently, and I think he's fine. I think on this map in particular, where you want lurkers, where you want kind of agents that can hold their own in all sorts of nooks and crannies, I think he's going to be good and might enjoy a higher pick. They're also supposed to be changing Yoru, which I'm honestly kind of, I wouldn't say worried about, but I have grown to kind of enjoy Yoru's current kit, even if it's a bit underpowered. And I'm curious, I'm worried that the changes they make are going to like completely revamp the agent. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I do think you've asked me about my ideal team comp on this map. I'm curious what you think, whether you have any particular feelings about what agents would be best, what agents wouldn't be very good here, and so on.
Yeah, no, I think it's difficult to come up with that just based off of this, you know, this walkthrough.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you in a lot of areas. Like Sova and/or Sky, I think will be helpful. I do think Sky on attack, being able to get information with your flashes, with your Trailblazer would be
Revealing area.
so valuable. So I'd probably pick Sky, maybe over Sova for that reason, but
Yeah.
After that, I do agree with KJ and Cypher, though I don't know. I think that some of those areas that are like a little bit too big for a smoke, having a Sage wall could be valuable, but it's only one wall, and that's the challenge. And they can get through it, but that in itself is information that there's some presence here. So I think that could be it's a deterrent and some information. She probably doesn't make it for me. I'd probably go with definitely Cypher. I think the two trips can, when used correctly, can give you a huge amount of information. Both on attack and on defense.
I think that's my issue with Sage here. Of like, you want more information in more places, and the wall gives you some information, but it's usually kind of imperfect info.
Right.
And it's also, I don't think anyone has perfected. I have never seen anyone perfect like acting off of that info particularly well, other than drawing in a rotation.
So
you cannot. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, bear with me. The other reason why I think Sage is maybe interesting here, though, is her slows. Because going on to my I think the duelist that I think might be most effective here might actually be Raze. Because you have the verticality, you have the boombot to get information, you have the grenades, of course, to do damage, and also to clear some of those rat spots. So like, I kind of like that, and you and I have definitely discussed in the past, like the combination of the slows with the Raze utility can be really powerful. So I like that as a combination, but I think that's still maybe not ideal comp, right? I'd say Cypher, Sky, Raze. Do you need Killjoy as well?
Cypher, Sky, Raze. Well, who else would you have? I want 2 Sentinels. I think I want 2 Sentinels. Maybe it's 2 Sentinels, 2 Initiators. Oh no, you need a control. Do you need a controller here? Do you need smokes on this map?
Honestly, earlier when I saw this, I was like, this might be the map where controllers are not essential. If you have flashes for days, then like maybe that's how you enter. Because it doesn't feel like smokes outside of maybe like a Viper wall to like really cut the map.
Viper might be really good here, actually. Viper might be that other addition to the comp.
It could be. Very well could be. I do not like Brimstone here, to be honest.
Wait. Now, hold on. I was just thinking about Yoru. Phoenix on this map. You have so many corners. Is he actually good, though?
Phoenix?
Yeah. Like, I'm looking at all of these little ratty spots all over this map.
Right.
And you could throw a curveball around this corner and, like, peek off of it.
You also cut off some of the map with your blade wall or
like you wall across like this, and then maybe you clear to the left here by flashing in.
Through.
You flash in, you go here, you take this space, maybe you start going through defender spawn here.
And not to mention the orbit, like the fact that you have more orbs on this map. Like, yes, I think it just means that like he's more likely to get his ult, which can be used to entry. So, okay, bear with me. This sounds kind of crazy, but Raze, Phoenix, Viper, Cypher, Sky. That might be my ideal comp.
I feel like I have to stop you at the 2 duelists, to be honest. You know what? I would actually say
like he's serving he's got the flash for utility, he's got the mollies to get some of those corners, and that wall is almost like a controller.
Let me raise you one. Raise. Raise, Cypher, Sky, Viper, and Yoru.
Ooh.
Because Yoru's flashes, I think, are, with Sky's, some of the best in the game. I know not everyone agrees with that.
I think Yoru, when you watch someone good playing Yoru and seeing how effective they are able to like pop flash, I think his flashes are right up there with KOs as being some of the best.
Yeah.
So-
Also,
You just named two duelists. I just want to name that.
I know.
Okay,
I was just swapping out the Phoenix because if we're talking about good flashes, also your result not very expensive, but being able to I'll handle this, and then you go in and you're okay. They're not here. They're not here.
Yeah,
they're not in
that's
this
a
corner.
lot of
They're not.
information.
They're
That's-
not
you're
here.
right.
And then you E, and then you just zip out while your teammates take space in all the spots that the enemy is not. And that ult is pretty low. That's a 5 or 6 orb ult. There are 4 orbs on the map. Like I don't think anyone's getting them immediately, but like the orb economy is like it kind of works in favor of the guys with lower ult counts or lower ult orb requirements. The X factor here for me also another agent that I think would be really good here, Breach. I mentioned him earlier, but yeah, clearing all these ratty corners. A Breach, Viper, Sky. You know what? What if we did no duelists? What if it was Breach, Viper, Sky, and then 2 Sentinels?
I think when you have Breach and Sky, like there's your entry. You have all the flashes you need for entry, and you have the information you need with the Trailblazer to entry.
Mm-hmm. If you do,
I think it's possible.
Breach, Viper, Sky, KJ, Cypher, here's what happens. The Breach and the Sky flash out, the KJ goes in, drops Spike, sets up all of the post-plant util, and then leaves. Cypher's somewhere on the other side of the map lurking. KJ's sitting far away, like doing my post-plant, basically. The thing I do... Uh-oh. Oh, maybe the game lasted too long. It just booted me out of my own custom game. Let's throw me back in. But yeah, I think you can end up in situations where if you can execute quickly, let's actually go, I'll go Yor here. You get the spike down early, you get post plant down, you enter with Sky and Breach and Viper. Viper can also help out with post plant stuff. I think that's a good comp. I don't know that any of the duelists are better than like the flashing initiators. Oh, hold on. This music is really good.
It's fantastic, yeah.
There's a steel string. There's a non-nylon string guitar. Oh, wait a minute. What's this? What's going on over here?
This is the interactive thing. What is this? What?
Welcome to Everett Linda. Oh, okay. We're finding the. Let me pause the. Hold on. Match cheats. Pause match timer. Welcome Oren McEniff to Everett Linda. Tomorrow at 0900, you are welcome. You are to meet your Omega partner, Ruben Pontus. I hate naming in sci-fi, in games. All of the names sound terrible. Oren McNeff and Ruben Pontus. Everett Linda, though, is probably a company name, is my guess. Welcome to Everett Linda. It's either the name of this. It's either the name of the base, or it is, some kind of company or division or whatever.
Everett Linda. Everett.
Outside 07A. 07A is a spot on this map. It has to be, because you have all of these you have all these little markers. Let's go back to this. As you will be working closely with someone from Omega Kingdom, please ensure all security guidance is strictly adhered to. How do I reply forward? How do I?
If you hit F again, does it take you out or?
No, it just takes me out. Can I don't know how to change my cursor. Tab doesn't do anything. Backspace. Enter just takes me there. Shift. R? F? No, F is the same thing. Okay.
I suspect you can't actually reply forward, but you seem pretty determined.
The thing is, there are buttons there that make me think there is a thing going on here. That's interesting. I wonder, hold on, let's skip end game phase. Oh, I ended game phase and it vanished.
That's
although, okay, let's go to
there's one right next
yeah, there are a lot more panels. I'll re-end the game phase after, but let's find 07A.
Yeah.
09A.
09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A. 09A
08A. 07A. Okay.
Oh, and then there's that little thing down there. But you wouldn't be able to reach this.
Not in the pre-game.
Right.
Although I wonder if they wouldn't put a weird bit of information.
It is lore. It could be just for the
Thirty
Game
seconds
phase.
left.
End game
Move
phase.
in after I strike.
Okay,
That's
first of
not
all,
so
so there's one there. I thought I just saw one right here.
Oh yeah, another one here.
Hello, Ruben. Did you finish your initial analysis on the Radian Collider today? I'm confident in our math and I know I'm being paranoid, but I really want to double check everything. Do you mind doing another walkthrough of the Eastern support structure with me tomorrow? Warren McEniff. Eastern support structure. Well, first of all, hold on. Let me go check that this hasn't
What was it?
changed at all.
Yeah.
So it was asking for 07A and the Eastern support structure. Eastern support structure is probably, I'm assuming this is north. That's my guess. The Eastern support structure would be something here, right? Well, first, hold on. Let me go to 07A and see if there's anything interesting there. Nothing that I can... Outside of 07A. Nothing that I can see
Yeah.
it being possible to act upon. Oh, that's just the tunnel inside.
Yeah.
Nothing that's really actionable. I'm sure there are like lore hunters who have figured this out already, but I don't see anything that is actually... That's interesting. I assume this is just like an intricate teaser for the next agent. My guess is whoever Ruben is probably Ruben Pontus.
Deadeye?
My guess is that is the new agent. That is Deadeye. I don't know if his
Wow.
name is Deadeye. Deadeye is the little that was the code name apparently.
I see.
I don't know. Let's see what the Eastern support structure might be.
I think that's a really good guess that you made, actually.
Here's the thing. They're setting up this like new guy who shows up before something gets really messed up. Eastern support structure. I'm guessing it is something here, or it is. I don't see anything around here, and honestly, there might not be further interactable stuff.
Mhm.
Or
I feel like
it
in the
is-
spawn for defenders, maybe? I don't know.
Let's see. Is there Alpha Everett Linda Research Lab? Okay. Yeah, so it's a guy who's new to this research lab. And they're like, hey, buddy, Omega Sector, Alpha Sector, Eastern support structure. I'm looking for something that would tell me, that would help me differentiate between East and West here. Dream it better. I'm also looking for other screens with maybe floaty things around. Whoa, high ping and a custom game. What's going on? No manipulable screens. I don't know. I think maybe that's all we get.
Could be. I mean, it's clearly building up to something, so.
Yeah. It could also be a thing that they update over time. Where, like, you check in at the start, and those are the messages. And then a week later, similar to when, like, Yoru got busted out, we get, like, different messages here. That's interesting. Okay. I wish there was a way to, like... There must be a way to toggle for these visually, so you could see all of them on the map, but I would not have access to that sort of thing. All right, well, very interesting. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ruben is going to be the next agent, is my guess. Ugh.
It's a good guess. So obviously you're on a preview build, which is exciting. It doesn't have the new agent, which adds intrigue. But I'm curious. When we've done this in the past, you've had access to the battle pass. I'm not sure if that's available or not.
Let's take a look right now. We might close out with that. When I looked, I did not see a battle pass, which was interesting to me.
You're right.
There's no battle pass tab.
I see,
which is weird because, yeah, in the past, they have given us access. They've let you take a look. And here, that is just not available. And I don't even think those guns appear in the collection.
Right.
The store is... Yeah, it cycles through pretty quickly. Let me actually I'm going to grab some skins. I'm going to be playing with them later anyways.
Nice.
But... Yeah, no actual... Let's just buy the whole bundle.
Yeah.
I'm playing with Riot's money anyways, so...
Exactly.
They gave me 500,000, yeah.
That's amazing.
How much would that equal in real life? That would be like $5,000.
I think so. I think it's 5K.
Let's see, let's see what the exchange rate is here, if I had to buy. Yeah, so $5 is less than 500. Yeah, so it would be 5K, right? I don't know if my math is super messed up, but I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, $10 is 1,000, so yeah. I think that's right. Yeah.
No,
I'm not gonna do math on this stream.
Never do math. Never do spelling.
No shot. I would literally never. But yeah, unfortunately, no battle pass. I think Riot is kind of worried about leakers. They seem to disinvite. They appeared to disinvite Valor leaks who had been invited to these events before.
Right.
The funny thing is, I don't think any of those were leaks, to be perfectly honest. I was always under the impression that was kind of like controlled, where Riot gave access to this guy named Valor Leaks. Like, they gave him access to test servers and events and whatnot. And then around the time that the embargo broke, he would publish information about it. None of that really struck me as that weird or out of step with, I guess, what Riot wanted or knew was happening.
Yeah, they seem to support it. Although, I got the impression he was doing some data mining as well. And so I could imagine... Because this is a new... I always get these conflated. This is a new... coming up, right?
This is a new act.
That's the... Oh, wait. So the episodes are the big deals, right?
The episodes are the big deals. Yeah, we're episode 3...
Of
Act 2. Yeah.
There's
I think that's right.
Episodes per act, I think.
We get a new map every episode, I think. Let's see. Okay, we started with Ascent, Split, Bind, Haven, and then Icebox was the 5th. So episode 1 was Ascent, then it was Icebox, then it was Breeze, which is not on here for some reason, which is weird.
Sorry, weird.
It always struck me as I think it is one map per episode, although they've expedited that slightly because people want maps faster, which is why I think Fracture looks the way it does.
Yeah.
Which I'm not mad about, but I kind of wish it had went a bit more out there rather than just
Breeze
being
was refreshing, right? Like the aesthetic for Breeze was like, okay, this is a breath of fresh air, and here it's like there's some novelty in terms of the barriers and defenders spawning in the middle, but aesthetically, I'm sort of with you. That doesn't really jump out at me.
Yeah. I'm thinking about other multiplayer shooters that I like and have enjoyed and I think about Halo. I think about there was this game I used to play years ago called Battlefield Heroes. I end up thinking of all of these games that have pretty different set piece like maps. And I don't know, there are a couple of Valorant maps that just feel like you're on like a kingdom base, basically.
Right.
I guess, and in the past, even when that was the case, there was still one thing I raised to David Nottingham when I chatted. He is the guy responsible for all of the Valorant like lore, basically. Was that there seems to be this split on a lot of the maps between authenticity and then whatever kingdom stands for, which is like modernity and tech and whatnot. You have Ascent, which is half markets and boathouse and this kind of rustic Italian zone. And then you go to A site and it is this like repurposed, like they have a generator in there. The whole of courtyard is taken up with this weird like office space that's very sleek and metallic and new. Bind
Office
is exact.
space?
Yeah, when you're look to the right of Catwalk when you're walking down Catwalk in Ascent. Have you ever done that?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, I thought you meant like in garden. Sorry, I thought you meant like inside of like where a tree was. I was confused. Okay.
No. Just along Catwalk.
Yeah,
like that whole area is like it kind of looks like a tech office.
Right.
Split is exactly the same, where you have literally a thing that tech campus on one side and then not that on the other side.
Yeah.
Bind is like that, where half of it is construction and there are voice lines to the effect of like, what has Kingdom done to this town?
Yeah.
Icebox is just a testing facility, so there's less of that there. But
you also have kitchen though, like that's
that's true. That's true. But then again, like all of Icebox is office vibe. Like Icebox is like pretty unified in its aesthetic. It does not have the same thing going for it, I think, that like Ascended, Split, and Bind do. Haven is a bit less of that, although there is some of that there. But yeah, in as much as I'm excited by Fracture gameplay wise, I wish there was more interesting stuff going on in that map visually, because it is kind of it feels like a bit of a dud on that front.
That is true, although that's one area where I sort of anticipate there will be iteration, right? Like they know full well that they are recycling assets here, and
yeah,
I think that just seeing some other games like Rainbow Six Siege, you've seen a number of both reworks and reskinning of maps.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing on even the famous maps like Dust 2. Those have gone through a couple of design passes to change the aesthetic a little bit. Inferno went through a pretty significant one in CS. So I think that it's not going to happen immediately. Probably 2 years, 3 years ago. Two years from now or so, I wouldn't be surprised if many of the maps go through reskin.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
we'll see. Actually, fair. I actually don't know how Riot approaches, like what their philosophy is when it comes to that. So,
I mean, the big game that they had before has like one map. So, I mean, League is one type of arena, and that's it.
Wow.
I remember that when I did not understand League and I started playing it years ago. This was still in college. I tried it once or twice. I was like, where are the other maps? Isn't there like more interesting stuff to be doing with the map? And I did not understand that like the point was not the different like variety in locales. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. I think we've covered all that's available to us here so far. We even uncovered some secret lore stuff, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous that you get to play this. Although, I look forward to sort of living vicariously through you. And if you're continuing the stream,
yes, sir.
Everyone should check out twitch.tv/eatergrip.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to play it. I'm going to get owned by every pro, every Twitch streamer, every
Dude, you're plat now. You're plat.
I'm on their level now.
Yeah.
I'm on their level. It's gonna be too easy for me to clean up these fools. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ro, for hanging out, for helping me dissect Fracture. Thank you for being here, and I think that's all from us. As always, have a safe launch crew, launchies, and so on.